Hi everyone. I wanted to give you a little tour through our drive. Normally I would have done this in class, but um, we ran out of time. So I want to talk you through our drive a little bit. When you click on the link that I sent everyone from my drive, it will probably open this folder, but it may also ask you if you want to add to my drive. It'll have this little icon and then a plus sign over the top of it. And I would select that. I would add it to my drive so that it downloads all of these folders to all of your devices. If you don't add it to your own drive, you'll have to continue going to this link in order to find it, which is kind of a pain. But since you already have the My Drive link, the My Drive apps on your iPad, you may also have them on your phone and on your other devices. You add this folder to My Drive, you'll always have access to it. Just a couple things to remember. This drive folder is owned by me, but everyone has editing rights, and that's a blessing and a curse. You have editing rights because this is going to be a collaborative space, but that also means if you do wonky things, you might accidentally take something. The cool thing is that I can kind of tell who's been popping around in the drive because it will show me. So here I can see that I've had a student reading at the reading and technology. So sometimes I can track things down. So just a couple of things for navigation. Once you get here, you double click on any folder and it will open up the materials that are inside. This is the field guide that I had referenced. And if I double click on that, of course, the whole field guide will open. Take a look at it, read through it. We talked about there being some items that I'd like you to try to do in your school that aren't absolutely necessary. And then a part 2, the Classroom Danielson notice that is required by everyone who has a 301 experience, regardless of the credit. So that means everyone except art. Try and get the art folks into some classrooms, but because you don't take 301, this isn't a requirement for you. I wanted to let you know that we will be talking about this specifically in class when I see you again after Labor Day. So you can hold off on it if you'd like, because I'll be teaching into it specifically. But there is an example of what I expect the field guide to look like. I lifted this directly from another student's work from last semester. So you can see what type of evidence I'm looking for in all of those boxes when you go there. I recommend that you make a copy of this. Sorry, that's my dog. Hey, Quince, she's just mowing the lawn. And to make a copy, click File and make a copy. And it'll default to say copy of. What I recommend is that you erase copy of and put your own name there. So I might put Hicks here. And then if I make a copy of it, it will live in the drive that we all share. But if I don't want it hanging out there, if I want to be able to move it to my own folder, I click File again, and it will say Move, and I can move it wherever I want. I don't want everybody to see my work potentially, so I'm going to come out and store it in another folder that I have. So just remember, please make a copy as your first step, and then you can move the copy as your second step. Okay, so if we go back out to the main folder, the Reading and Technologies connection is the last thing that we talked about. I've created folders for you to place the assignment in. This is new for me, and I'm not exactly sure the best way to collect artifacts and evidence. I want us to share some of them in class, and I'm not sure how to store them otherwise. So we're going to experiment together. Right now I have a folder for them, and I also have some information here about how those categories that are aligned to the apps that I showed you in the PowerPoint might look in the classroom. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in class, but I just want to show you kind of what's living in all of those spaces. The Reading and Technology Connections folder is here too. This is an assignment that you'll you'll want to complete this week. We'll share some of them out next time I see you, but this is your big assignment for the week, that you're going to take a look at one of the technology apps that are already stored on your iPad. Those are aligned to the ISTE standards you can read more about back in the Reading and Connections folder. And then you'll connect it to the reading. When I say connect to the reading, that's vague, and it's vague on purpose because there will be readings, activities, conversations, and experiences that you have in the classroom that you might have in another methods course or field experience. Sorry, now my dog wants to play with her pig. And so I want to leave this open for your interpretation. However, the intent is that this is one of the spaces that I'm holding you accountable for the readings. So if I start taking a look at your reading and technology connection and I can't see any evidence that you've done the reading or that you've connected the reading to any of your experiences or activities or conversations, I'm going to call that out and I'm going to send you back in to do that so that you can gain full points. This is one of the spaces that I can hold you accountable for the readings and that the readings can augment what you're doing in the field. 5 takeaways that you got from readings, activities, conversations, or experiences, and then or just from the readings, 5 takeaways from the readings, and then 5 connections of your choice. And we'll kind of get a feel for it as we get going. Again, this is new for me in the course design, so I appreciate your grace and innovation, helping me find the best ways to help you learn in that space. Okay, so there's your reading and technology folder. I click back to go back to our main folder, and this is going to be helpful for you as well. I will store additional readings in the readings folder. We may not use them until weeks later, but I'll drop them there. And then every week you'll see the PowerPoint that was used in class. You're going to notice there are things here we didn't get to, and that's okay. We'll layer them in later. But some of you were asking about wanting to see this slide again, and a few folks were commenting about the significance that this slide had on the way that they were seeing their definition of differentiation, or just the way that you're sort of orienting yourself to the classroom. So all of these materials will stay here. We'll build content in each of these folders so that you always have examples of things, and you can always kind of go back to the learning. So that's just a little about Drive. I wanted to make sure that if you hadn't played around with Drive, you have a chance to see it. It does look different on your mobile devices. So you might see more dots and lines like this on your iPad that you need to click into in order to get the pull down that you need. Thanks so much, and this will live in Drive under resources so that you can refer to it later if you need to.